University of Nebraska President Ted Carter recently went on the record with Tom Chattel of the Omaha World Herald, and the results were intriguing, to say the least. Is change directly on the horizon for the Big Ten Conference? Before we get into that, just a reminder to hit subscribe if you haven't already. Big Ten content all offseason long. Always crush that like button to spread the word of Big Ten Ted to the masses. I can sit here and talk about conference expansion. I can sit here and talk about potential changes in the Big Ten Conference until I'm blue in the face. And you know I'm going to talk about it until I'm blue in the face. People like me, reporters, YouTube channels, Twitter accounts. You can talk until you're blue in the face about us. You can talk about reputable reports and you can really decipher it and break it down. But it's the university presidents and the chancellors, but mostly the presidents, that are in the room. Those are the guys that are making the decisions. And when you hear publicly from a university president, your ears perk up a little bit. And you're intrigued, and you get a little bit interested. Big props to the Omaha World Herald for putting this piece together. Tom Chattel, Sam McEwen, they've got a great crew over there at the Omaha World Herald. So let's break down. I want to break down some quotes from this article that I thought were the most intriguing and really stood out the most to me, and let's decipher them in terms of what they mean for the future, the immediate future maybe, of the Big Ten Conference. The first one from President Ted Carter. I think Big Ten football, through the chancellors and presidents, has made the decision to try to be national. Through the chancellors and presidents, aka through expansion. Because as we've talked about at the top of this video, those are the decision makers when it comes to conference expansion and going national. The Big Ten Conference on a large scale is really the first conference to really go from coast to coast. Rutgers and Maryland, the additions going into those markets really was the bridge to go all the way out west to USC and UCLA. Right when they added Rutgers and they added Maryland, they were still in contiguous states. But when you go all the way out to LA, you go all the way out to California, you're kind of breaking the mold, breaking the status quo of what the Big Ten was, right? Big up north, off-tackle empire, black and blue, bring your lunch pail, maybe not the fastest conference in the world, maybe not the flashiest conference in the world, and then you bring in USC, you bring in UCLA, maybe some of the flashier programs and the glitz and the glamour of Los Angeles, and the diversity in markets in the Big Ten Conference continues to really increase. Going national. That's big, because in order to go national, LA is the first step. Maybe they go up. We've talked about the Pacific Northwest. But the big thing when I talk about going national, when Ted Carter talks about going national, the Southeast is a huge part of going national. In order to really go national, there's still inventory to be scooped up for the Big Ten Conference. Let's go to the next quote. Quote, how big should it be, in reference to the number of teams in the Big Ten Conference? I don't have the answer to that. Do we need 4 more Pac-12 teams that want to join? Time is going to tell. This is a quote that a lot of people have been focusing on. The minds of the Big Ten presidents are spinning. The wheels are turning. Plans are starting to be made. Do we need 4 more Pac-12 teams? That tells me him and probably a few other university presidents have been thinking about 4 more Big Ten teams, which would bring the total of the teams in the Big Ten Conference to 20, which tells me that the Big Ten eventually would want to go to 24, because I don't believe that there are 4 more teams in the East, aka the ACC, that they would want to grab. We've been talking about Oregon and Washington until we're green and purple in the face here on this channel, and rightfully so. The Big Ten is indeed interested in the Ducks and the Huskies. But there is also interest in Stanford and Cal as well. I've gone back and forth on the Cardinal and the Golden Bears. I know about the market size that the Bay Area has. I know about the technology industry. I know about the alumni that Stanford and Cal and other Big Ten alumni that are in that hub in the San Francisco, in the Oakland, in the Bay Area there, in San Jose. I understand what that all involves. I've recently said that Stanford and Cal, I'm just not sure if athletically, from a TV deal standpoint, that they pack the punch. But man, do they bring academics, man, do they bring research, and they bring maybe one of the best remaining markets that can go out and be got for the Big Ten Conference. This quote tells me they have their eyes, maybe not just on Oregon and Washington, but Stanford and Cal are also in the discussion for the Big Ten Conference. Next quote. I think we have another year or two of the status quo with a few minor changes, but I think over the next year, there's going to be a lot of big changes that are going to happen. The Big Ten are going to be big movers. We understand if you want to be one of the top brands, if you want to be one of the top conferences in all of college sports, you need to be aggressive. I made the analogy, I brought up the quote on a live stream from my favorite movie, Jurassic Park. T-Rex doesn't want to be fed, she wants to hunt. The Big Ten, with this quote, this is telling me, looking at change over the next 2 years, big change. The T-Rex that is the Big Ten, the apex predator that is the Big Ten, is gonna hunt. They're not gonna sit back and see what happens. I think by this quote, this tells me that, hey, we're going to stick with the status quo for a little bit, but then there will be big change that's coming down the road. The Big Ten is forward thinking. Last quote that I want to talk about. 2 teams that move from one conference, one of the Power 5 conferences, causes things to unravel. There's a domino effect. One team leaves, the ACC, for example, it has a domino effect. Same with the Pac-12. They're keeping an eye on the dominoes and where the dominoes are going to fall. The Big Ten is one of the most desirable conferences that are out there right now, and they will control the dominoes and where the dominoes are going to fall. Ted Carter gave us an eye into the room. He gave us a sneak peek, and this sneak peek tells me things are going to move and things are going to shake. I want to hear what you guys think. Do you think that these recent comments by Ted Carter gives us a little bit of a preview? Maybe what will happen this summer? Maybe what will happen a couple of years down the road? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm Big Ten Ted. We will see you in the next one.